Welcome to the Cabinet of Newspeak, our archive of manipulations. My name is Alina and I am the keeper of this place. Today we will discuss controlling thought through controlling language. The concept of Newspeak presented by Orwell was much deeper than the literary fiction. It reflects the fundamental mechanism of how the language shapes and limits our thinking. At the heart of the theory of Newspeak lies the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis of linguistic relativity. The language we speak determines how we think and perceive the world. Newspeak works through several key mechanisms. The first is vocabulary reduction. When words for describing certain concepts disappear, it becomes more difficult to think about them. For example, if the word for justice is removed from the language, the very concept of justice becomes more difficult to comprehend and discuss. The second mechanism is the creation of complex compound words that replace more precise terms. Good thing, instead of politically loyal, does not simply simplify language. It creates a new concept that blurs the line between volunteer support and forced loyalty. Euphemisms play a special role in Newspeak. They don't just hide unpleasant reality, they change our attitude towards them. When mass murder is called the final solution, it doesn't just mask the horrific essence, it turns a crime into bureaucratic procedure. Psychologically, Newspeak works on several levels. Cognitive reduction, because without the right words, it became difficult to formulate certain thoughts. Emotional manipulations, when words are chosen to evoke the desired emotional responses. Social control, when a common language creates a sense of belonging to a group. And blurring responsibility, when bureaucratic terms distance us from a moral evaluation of actions. Modern research in cognitive linguistics confirms many of Orwell's intuitions. Experiments show that the presence or absence of certain words in a language does indeed affect the speed of recognition of corresponding concepts and the ability to operate with them. Some ethnic groups does not have a separate word for the color blue or its shades, but have several terms for shades of green. For example, in the language of the Nimbu tribe of Namibia, blue and green are not clearly distinguished. Scientists conducted an experiment. Participants were shown a circle of 12 squares. 11 were green and 1 a bit more blue. Even if the Himba distinguished blue from green, it was harder for them to announce it. But in another test, when one square were slightly different shade of green, they announced it instantly. An important aspect of Newspeak is systematicity. It is not just a set of individual words. It is a coherent system where each element supports the others. Newspeak also uses principles of linguistic anchoring, when certain words and phrases are constantly repeated in a specific context, creating stable associative links. This is similar to neurolinguistic programming techniques, but applies on a social-wide scale. A particular danger is that Newspeak does not simply limit the ability to expand certain thoughts. It limits the very possibility of forming them. When there is no word to describe an alternative reality, it becomes difficult to even imagine its existence. In today's world, we have many elements of Newspeak. Political correctness, which sometimes borders on absurd, corporative jargon that masks reality, and media rhetoric that use euphemism to justify questionable actions. You can resist Newspeak by maintaining accuracy in speech, learning other languages that offer alternative ways of describing reality, taking a critical approach to impose linguistic constructs, and constantly expanding your vocabulary. Understanding the mechanism of Newspeak, it is important not only for countering political manipulations. It helps us to better understand how language shapes our thinking and how important it is to preserve linguistic diversity in order to maintain diversity of thoughts. Today, when informational technology provides unique opportunities for linguistic manipulations, understanding the principles of Newspeak is critical to preserving intellectual freedom. Thank you for visiting the Cabinet of Newspeak. I hope this episode will help you better understand the twists and turns of social manipulations and avoid them. I encourage you to subscribe not to miss next episodes and hope to see you in our archive next Tuesday. Be mindful of the world around.